There he is, Mr. Gaur Gopal Das. How are you?
Hi, how are you? How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for making the time today. How are you doing? Oh, he's blacked out. Let's see when he comes back. A bit early. Yeah, it is a little bit early today. Earlier than what we normally do.
Yes, brilliant.
There we go. I think we got it. How are you? How is
Yes.
everything? How is everything
I'm
at home for
good.
you?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you doing, Ivan? How's Canada? Are you in Canada at the moment?
I'm at home, Canada, Toronto. Everything is everything's safe. All my friends, family safe. So nothing to complain about here. But super excited to have you on. If for everybody watching live and watch the replay on my YouTube channel, if you don't know this man, if you want to get wisdom, if you want to be entertained, if you want to learn from what I think is maybe one of the greatest storytellers of our generation, you have to go check out his channel. And he's also the author of a new book called The Way of the Monk. Tell us quickly about the concept of the book, why you wrote it, and why people should care.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ivan, for your kind words. But I must say that you're doing such great work as well with your channel and your tagline. I suppose what is it? Believe Nation.
That's it. That's it.
You're doing such an incredible job, man, and you're really putting out some viewing so many people, really great job and commendable. So firstly, my heartfelt congratulations and gratitude for doing what you're doing, trying to make the world a better place. So thank you very much. And in regards to the book, The Way of the Monk, it's about 25 years back that I decided to make the shift from being an electrical engineer to a monk. In fact, a lot of people often ask me, why did you move away from engineering? And I tell them that I actually didn't move away from engineering. I upgraded from being an electrical engineer to a life engineer or a lifestyle engineer. And I always felt that it was moving from dealing with machines and systems to dealing with the human potential behind the machines and the systems.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Singapore doing an event called Masters of the Century, and I happened to share stage with Sophia, the humanoid, the first artificial intelligence-based robo. She was interacting, she had human features. And when she was questioned about artificial intelligence, she said, "You humans are the ones who gave me this artificial intelligence." And she said, "We as artificial intelligence driven robos are not meant to be competing against the human potential. We are meant to be complementing the human potential." So I decided that I'm not going to work in the field of AI. I'm going to work in the field of RI, real intelligence.
I like that.
So move from technology to the human mind, the human potential. That's how I decided to be a monk. So when I joined the ashram, the monastery, I started learning the ancient wisdom from my teachers, from my gurus, from people around me, reading the books, reading the epics. And then I felt, as I was living there, I've been there for the last 25 years now, and I felt that monkhood has very little to do with what you wear. It has very little to do with your particular faith. It has very little or nothing to do with the place where you live, whether you live in a monastery or you live at a home or the demographics, the geography doesn't matter. It barely has anything to do with your hairstyle as well, and we share a similar hairstyle.
It's close. It's close. We both have the gold on too here.
Yes, we do. So monkhood really has little or nothing to do with these externals. Monkhood has a lot to do with the principles, the values. It has a lot to do with your mindset. Therefore, in The Way of the Monk, after every chapter, there's a section called the monk mindset. It's that mindset which can really transform the way we live. It's that mindset which can transform our relationships, which can transform the way we grow professionally. It can transform the very experience of our life and allow us to tap into the deepest of our human potential. So after realizing that this monk mindset is not limited to the boundaries of a monastery, I thought I must share this, you know. So the way of the monk is trying to share the monk principles that I learned in the monastery and bring that to the world in a way that people can apply them, try to apply them, and see if we can bring a positive change in life. That was the logic behind writing the book. Yeah.
I'm so excited for it. I think, we've profiled many different monks on the channel, and a lot of times the message is a little hard to understand. And what you do so well is make it easy to understand and make it fun at the same time. For someone,
I try, man. I try my best.
But, I mean, in your videos, there's laughing, there's storytelling. It looks like you're having fun in the process, even when it's talking about something very serious and obviously helping people. What do you think is most people who read the book won't go become a monk and join an ashram. So what do you think is the biggest thing that we're missing that the average everyday non-monk person needs that can benefit from the monk mindset?
I think what's happening a lot with our lives today is that we're living in a very fast-paced life. Life has become very fast. Achievements, social media statuses, what's our status on social media, how we achieve in our professional life. It's so much about having that we forget living, And life is not meant simply for having. Having is a part of life, correct? But living is what life is for. But in the process of having, in chasing to have more, we forget to live well, And therefore, when we're talking about this monk principles, or we're talking about this monk mindset, we're talking about making that choice and prioritizing to live well. And when we talk about living well, we talk about making those choices. We choose to live well. We choose to do things. And I feel that one of the greatest assets that each one of us has been gifted with is the power to craft our life, to choose to craft our life, to choose to sculpt our life. We are the architects of how our life should be. But unfortunately, we live so much in the default mode. Like it's funny, when we're talking about our iPhones, we don't keep our ringtones in the default mode. We customize them. When we wear clothes, we don't wear clothes that come in the default mode. We customize them. Even our pizza toppings, we customize them. So it's quite funny that we as human beings customize practically everything we have and do, but we live our life in the default setting without customizing it. Each one of us is different. Each one of us has a different situation in life. Each one of us has different backgrounds, different baggages we carry. And it's so crucial and important to customize a life that's worth living, So one thing that I definitely want to say, people who are not going to go to the ashram, and nobody needs to, monkhood is not about being in an ashram, definitely need to look at prioritizing how to customize their life. And that's then about making those choices.
What do you put on your pizza? What's your favorite pizza?
You to tell me yours first and then I'll answer, Ivan.
I like a lot of cheese and a lot of meat. So it'd be like lots of pepperoni and extra cheese.
Okay. For me, I like pesto sauce. I like pizzas with the pesto sauce, and I like jalapenos. I like, fresh olives, nicely fresh olives. I also love artichoke hearts.
Okay.
Toppings on my pizza. But more than pizza, we need to customize our lives for sure.
So if anybody's buying you pizza, they know what to order now. Why do we not customize our lives? Why do we feel like we can't? Is it that we're worried about our parents or our teachers or our culture or the people in our lives? Like why would we customize our phone in a second, but then when it comes to our lives, we feel like I can't do that?
Yeah. I think it has a lot to do with being affected by the noise around us. There's so much noise around us. The education system is noise. You know, our upbringing often is noise. How we kind of comply with the social media standards of being acceptable and being cool to the world out there is noise. And in trying to comply with all that noise, we forget to listen to our own voice, you know. So we're so much conditioned to doing things the way the world does it. There are standards of what is success, the standards of what is cool, the standards of what's socially acceptable. But is your life cool? Have you chosen to live that way? Or is that noise and that influence making you live that way? And most often, if not always, it has a lot to do with that influence, correct? So I'm not saying education is wrong. I'm not saying our upbringing or the advice given by our family or our friends or our well-wishers is wrong. I'm just saying we cannot drown in that noise and lose ourselves. It's our life. It's our life. They're not going to live it for us, you know. All those people who accept us because we show ourselves in a certain way on social media don't really come there when we need them the most. So sometimes I say we prioritize our online relationships so much that we forget our offline relationships, the real ones. You know, when if I meet with an accident, if I'm ill, if I have an issue with my and financial issue, whatever issue or a problem, you know, people online, they're good. They're good. Those friends on Facebook and Instagram, people who follow, they're good. Absolutely good. And with all good intentions, the most they can do is send you a message. The most they can do is send you a bouquet of flowers, you know, get well soon messages, and they're great because they're sent with love and intentions, good intentions, they're great. But people who are going to be there around us are the real people, the real relationships. But in being accepted on social media and being accepted by the social standards of success, which I call noise, we get so drowned in that noise that we forget our voice. So that's a conditioning event, you know, that we got so conditioned to live like that that we don't now want to customize, which basically means we have to come out of that shell, to come out of that loop. We have to crack that conditioning, crack that loop. And that's when we can choose to customize.
You talked about the education system. You know, kids are going back to school in North America right now. If day one of every school was Gaur Gopal Das Day, and you get to be in front of the kids for the whole day, for one day, for every school across the world. What's the lesson that you're teaching, or what are you going to do for that one day to touch everybody's lives?
Yes. If I get to be in front of every kid in every school in the world, Evan, the one thing that I would like to teach or tell the students who are listening to me is that we cannot go on extreme sides of the spectrum. One extreme of the spectrum is follow your passion, be yourself, correct? Which is what I primarily teach as well. Like what Albert Einstein said, you cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree.
Right.
You know, you can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. Judge the fish by its ability to swim in the water. Correct? Now, two things happen in that case. Number one, the fish is effective in doing what it can do because it's in its right habitat. And number two, it's satisfied because it's in the right habitat. Correct? Put a monkey in the water, the monkey is miserable. Put a fish on the tree, the fish is miserable. Put a monkey on the tree, the monkey achieves excellence. Put a fish in the water, the fish achieves excellence. So I'm one of the proponents. I'm a proponent of this principle that we must definitely encourage our kids to follow their potential and follow their passion. But what happens often is we go on such an extreme end of the spectrum that the other side, where what the education system has to offer is there are many good things in the education system as well. So if I were to talk to the students, I would say, let's find that balance, finding best of both the worlds, you know, grab the best out of what you can have from the education system and let the education system also foster a culture, an ethic, an ethos, you know, where we allow kids to be who they are.
I like it. I think we got to make that happen. Gaur Gopal Das Day gives to every student around the world for one day. I think that'd be great.
Of course, I'll say all of this in the form of a story.
Of course. No, I mean, that's great. Your stories are what makes it happen. I love it. How do you help people? What do you recommend people do to figure out if they're the monkey or the fish or the whatever? Like, how do you find that thing? Because it may not be what your parents are doing or what your friends are doing. You know, I'm sure the pressure for you to go be the engineer was great, and then to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be a monk. Like, how do people find that thing? How do you recommend when there's a lot of family pressure on them? How did they find the thing?
Correct. I think I find a lot of times it's an issue with the system. Correct. Like, for example, the industry, the corporate world, is only picking up people from the top-rated universities. Correct. The industry is only picking up students who have the best grades. Correct. Now, if you have people who are being picked up based on your university or based on your grades and your marks and your academic performance, then guess what parents are going to pressurize kids with? You better get the marks, you better get the grades, you better get to the best university. Correct. And guess what the educational institutions do? It's a demand and supply system. If the demand of the industry is grades, and the parents are pushing to get grades, the educational systems are driven to make kids get grades. Now imagine if the industry changes and the corporate world redefines, saying we don't hire grades, we hire passion, we hire candidates for their passion. Correct? Now what are the parents going to say? Don't worry about the grades, son. Look at your passion. And what is the education system going to provide? How to look at your passion. Correct? At the end of the day, it's about the demand and supply, really, you know. So in terms of how does a kid or how does an individual figure that out for himself or herself, number one is there is a voice from within us, correct? And there's a voice from within us that's constantly resonating with our soul saying, I love this, you know. I may be great at it or I may not be great at it, either or, whichever way. But I love this. I'm in absolute love with this. I can wake up early in the morning to do this, and I can go to bed like late in the night if I were doing this. I know that that's what it's really in sync with my soul, you know. Now, what happens with that is sometimes it's multiple things. It's 3, 4, 5 different things for people, right? And now if that be the case, then I think it's also over a period of time, we need to funnel it down, to narrow it down to that one thing. It's like being in love, right? A guy or a girl is in love with somebody. There's 3, 4 different people they're trying and seeing, and they're kind of exploring. But it's one person who like really, really strikes that chord. So one thing is to listen to your inner conscience constantly. People who are not in tune with their inner radar are not going to be able to find out what their passion is. If you're living in life only catering to the outside demands and not introspecting, not going deep to listen to your conscience and your inner voice, where's the question of figuring out what the passion is? You have to see what resonates with your soul. Right? Number 2 is it's not just about what I think I love. You know, I must also have the potential to develop that. Like I may love singing, but I may not have a voice at all. Right? So you need that element in you as well. So that element, we can figure that out based on people who observe us closely. It could be our family, our friends. It could be our well-wishers, our guides. And often it could even be experts in that field who can see and identify that, hey, okay, he feels he loves it or she loves it, but there's also the element in this person which can be fanned, which can be triggered, and it can kind of turn into a burning inferno, you know, of excellence. Now, in having said that, the one issue that often comes is the family, isn't it? That's what you brought up. Like when I turned to be a monk, it wasn't an easy thing. If at least if I moved from being an engineer to something else in the corporate world, it was still fine. You can imagine my extreme choice. Giving up a white-collared Hewlett-Packard job to be a monk wearing robes and painting your face and staying in a monastery, sleeping on the floor. So it's kind of a little weird, but I think what it is when we stand up for ourselves, and when we are strong about what we want to do and something that's burning within us, right? We may not be able to do it instantly. We may not be able to do it instantly. People are not able to follow their passion straight away often, due to several reasons, due to family objections, due to financial liabilities, where they need to attend to a regular job to really take care of their financial liabilities. And it's important. It's violent to say that everybody should follow their passion. It's real, it's a reality, but there are real life situations which need to be attended to as well. So I often say, do not neglect your passion. You may postpone it, correct? So my suggestion often is you do whatever is the mainstream and you follow your passion side by side, correct? Let your passion overtake the mainstream thing that you do. Let your family see the advantage. Let your family see the benefit, correct? Let them be able to see that even this works. So slowly and steadily, if it grows organically, you're in a better position to explain to them because now you have results. Otherwise, without results, most families are worried that what's going to happen to this guy. He wants to be a social media influencer in a time where it's so bloody hard to be a social media influencer. The cutthroat competition in the online world today is massive, humongous, right? So in that kind of space, if somebody says, I want to make a living out of this, the first question that family is going to have is, well, how are you going to do that? Look at the million people out there. So why not start small? You have something that you do as a mainstream and start small, and possibly this could overtake, and then what a beautiful life that is. The passion and profession are the same. Does that make sense? Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I'm wondering, how long did it take for you after you made the jump for your family to accept the decision?
Oh man, that wasn't an easy thing at all. Uh, I think it probably was like maybe 5 to 7 years, maybe 10 years, at least
Wow.
between 5 to 10. They were supportive of it. It's not that they weren't supportive, they were okay with it, but they were not too happy about it.
Hmm.
And then as they saw the work I was doing, you know, then they started realizing that he's doing something tangible, right? And especially in the last 3 or 4 years when the social media journey kind of took off well, that's when they realize that he's actually contributing and doing something tangible for the world. So yes, everybody who's listening and everybody who's going to listen to this, it's not an easy and immediate acceptance, guys. It takes a while before people who are close to us can understand us, and sometimes they may not even understand us for a life. But again, I must say, it's not them who are going to live our lives. It's we who need to live our lives. But the only asterisk conditions apply to what I'm saying is that when there are financial liabilities, when there are serious situations at home, I think we should take this entire principle with a pinch of salt. We can't be like, really straight away say this, families where there are so many serious situations and people won't be able to do what they want to do straight away. So don't neglect it, just postpone it. I think there will be a time when one can follow it fully.
If somebody is new, so back to the book called The Way of the Monk. If somebody's new to spirituality, think of somebody in North America who hasn't come across a monk before, might think it's kind of crazy or weird or different. What do you think is the biggest lesson, the biggest takeaway you want them to take if they pick up the book and read it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In the book, I talk about the analogy of a car, and all of us have a journey. We have a destination to reach. We have a journey to take. And often, I don't know how it's in Canada, Toronto, but often if you're here in Mumbai, India, you're stuck in traffic. So, so often you get stuck in life, like you get stuck in the traffic. I want to reach there. You're in the journey, but you feel stuck. You feel stuck in your personal life. You feel stuck in your profession. You feel stuck in your relationships. You feel stuck in your mental health. Right? You feel stuck. And there's nothing worse in life than feeling stuck. Even, I don't think you've been to Bombay, India, but if you ever come to Bombay, you will get the first-hand experience of what it means to be stuck in traffic. It's an amazing city. I love it. I can't think of living anywhere else in the world. But traffic-wise, man, it's insane, right? Now, when you're stuck, the feeling is horrible. It's just so frustrating. Even if you're moving at a slow pace, but you're moving in the right direction, it's satisfying. Correct? So I always say, if you are stuck somewhere, don't worry. You're not a tree. Your feet, not roots. You know, nothing against roots and trees, but trees with roots cannot move. We as human beings who have feet, literally and figuratively as well, can move on in life. So in this analogy of the car, I talk about the car having four wheels. The first wheel being our personal life, the second wheel being our relationships, the third wheel being our professional life, and the fourth wheel being our social contribution. But the steering wheel is our spirituality, correct? So our personal life, our relationships, our social contribution, our professionalism can all be impacted tremendously by being spiritual. And what does it mean to be spiritual? What does it mean to be spiritual? Essentially, there's so much we can say about it, but essentially, it's to really try to move just from being in the outside world to your inner world as well. Correct. There has to be a good balance of the outside and the inside. Correct. Now, what's happening is we live so much in the outside that we don't connect deeply to ourselves. We don't connect deeply to our souls. We don't connect deeply to our own true selves. The spirituality means to begin that journey of going within. Right? The journey outside is anyways on. But the more we deeply connect to ourselves, we'll feel empowered to deal with these other wheels, which is the personal side, the relationships, our professional life, our social contribution, everything. We feel empowered to do what we do. So yeah, in one line, it's really kind of deeply connecting to yourself.
I love it. So if that's the steering wheel and the wheels, what's the engine of the car?
Oh man. If the engine of the car is not in the book, but I would say the engine of the car is your spirit to live life. Your passion, your gusto, your spirit, your strong desire to live life well is the engine. Because without the engine, there's no point. The car doesn't function. So unless you want to live well, you don't look at your personal life, you don't look at any of these wheels, you don't even look at spirituality. But when you want to live well, then all of these things can definitely fall in place.
I love it. I love it so much. The book is called The Way of the Monk. If people want to pick it up, where are they going? Amazon? I mean, we'll link it up
it's
down
available.
below.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon. It's available in Barnes and Nobles. It's available. I don't know how it's in Canada, but in the USA, it's available in Barnes and Nobles, and it's available at IndieBound. It's available practically in all bookstores, and definitely on Amazon. Yeah.
Cool. For the YouTube audience, we'll put all that in the description below. Go check it out. Go check out the book. Gaur Gopal Das, man. Thank you for the love, the energy, the wisdom, the time. Appreciate you, and so pumped to get my hands on the book too.
Thank you so much, Ivan, for having me over for this conversation. And I love you, and I love the work you do. And I suppose you wrote the book, Built to Serve, right? And
I did.
And you were meant to send me a copy, and we've been trying to do that. But because of the pandemic, it hasn't happened. Is it available in India? I want to pick it up and read as well.
We've sent some. We'll get another copy after you for sure. We'll get another copy after. It's been a little delayed with COVID, but we'll get another copy to you.
But thank you. It's not just you're writing the book, but you're serving the world in such an amazing way by putting out this quality content. So absolutely amazing. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for having me over again.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Appreciate you. Take care.
Thank you.
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.